Our fellow Pinkos and comrades, welcome to Malt Liquor Socialist. I'm your host, Mr. Kiefer, and in this episode, I am joined by a man raging against the machine, Mr. Morgan.
Speaking of rage, it's starting to get hotter outside.
True.
Yes,
It is. It's summertime.
it is. We don't have air conditioning in my house.
Wait, what the fuck? When did this happen? I thought you guys had like some air conditioning.
We don't have central air.
Oh, you have a wall unit.
We have because our house was built, before climate change was a thing. And,
Okay.
In Southern Oregon, I guess back in the 50s and 60s, it didn't get hot here. I mean, maybe it got hot a little bit, but, a couple of days here and there, whatever. You don't need central air. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We had to get a new unit, not the big wall unit thing. That's been
Like a window unit.
the big wall unit that was built in 1965 is still going strong because I don't know, they made things better back then.
True.
But we got this new thing that we put in the kids' room because good God, it was getting way too hot back there. And so I had to set that fucker up, and we got it running, and it works great. But I don't know. I'm thinking about sleeping on the deck.
I mean, look, at night, what we used to do, because my house growing up had like central heating. It just didn't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
It was just, heater. And what we used to do in the summer, and again, this is before we had fires and smoke for like the vast majority of the summer fucking year. Summer season.
Yeah.
But what we would do is one end of the house, we'd open up some windows, and the other end of the house, we'd open up a window and put a fucking box fan
Yeah.
in it, and just have it pull the air through. And when there's not smoke, it's fan fucking tastic.
That's
It
great.
gets cool enough out in the summer evenings where it's like, oh, this is like, instead of being in the 90s, the hundreds, it's in the low 80s to the mid 70s.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. And now it's, each summer is pretty much just LA in 1963. So you
Yeah.
can't really do that.
Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah. But
Yeah, what do we got today?
well, today we're going to go over some local developments of Parker's Place.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is stuff that's viewable on Facebook. All this stuff that we're going to go over for Parker's Place, that's going to be the short end of what we're going on today,
Okay.
or going over today, is stuff on Facebook. And afterwards, we're going to be covering an article from JPR from June 4th, 2026, about low-income housing programs in Oregon.
Okay.
And it might not be what we hope is hoping is going on in these situations.
Oh, no.
So just a heads up, this episode will have a lot of me reading articles. So
I'm okay with that.
if the sound of my voice starts to bug you, then sorry, not sorry.
It's because I won't allow him to use the AI voiceover.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to to use AI because Mr. Morgan will be disappointed with me if
I will
I
be
do.
highly disappointed with you.
Now, this news is also a bit more than a week old at this point. So I am certain that there will be some more developments with the Parker's Place by the time this episode airs. And you can keep up with their progress on the Parker's Place with their Facebook page. I strongly recommend it. They try to post stuff like pictures of the progress they're making, almost daily, if not,
Yeah.
a couple times a day. And it's awesome to check out. So I recommend you do. Now, without further ado, let's get started.
Let's do it.
So for Parker's Place, I'm going to be reading from a Facebook post they made in the first week of June. And then Mr. Morgan and I are going to observe some pictures that have been shared on their Facebook page. We'll be doing some commentary on them. Again, we're an audio podcast. I'm sorry. Suck it. But also,
Whoa.
seriously.
Easy there.
I know, but seriously, check out their Facebook
Yeah,
page. All these
sure.
pictures are on there, and I'm only going over a select few. They have hundreds of pictures of what's going on, and
Okay.
it is awesome.
Nice.
So, full screen there. Parker's Place Village in Grants Pass, Oregon. 148 sleeping areas completed so far, and most have beds added, but not all. The project is not just about site work, underground and pavement as on the construction site. We have finished our last Connex, and as of tomorrow there will be 148 beds in units, with only the pallet house and 2 beds left to finish up. Then on the Parker's Place Village site, the electrician has already started adding our electrical. This is actually in addition to what the RFP required also, which will provide a light in the center of the ceiling and a wall outlet with 4 plugs on the wall opposite of the door and window. The electrical will be ongoing after the units opened up. Lastly, most windows have been modified, but some are left to finish up, and hopefully tomorrow on June 4th, 2026, our 75 special order entry doors will be in to start installing. City Manager Aaron Kubik is working on approving the phasing plan with us. City Manager Aaron Kubik is working on approving the phasing plan with us, which should put about 24 to 40 new people in beds per week starting the week of 6/8/26. So by the time that this episode's airing, they will have started this already.
Okay.
Then, as I understand it from the city attorney, Stephanie Nuttall, incremental sleeping space transfer will allow the city to draw down the same required number on the 150 spaces in city camps downtown. We are seeing a brighter day for all the Grants Pass, Oregon community, and it is such an honor to be part of this. Please remember, Grants Pass, that this started with your city council and mayor creating an RFP last year to actually make this possible. Bernie Woodard.
Yeah.
There.
Okay.
So, again, this is something where I'm tickled pink with how this is turning out. It's like 148 beds. Hooray.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like they're going to be doing on here, they're going to be phasing people in slowly. It's not going to be a matter of, hey, we have 40 beds out of our 148 now available.
Yeah.
Close down the street camp things. It sounds like it's going to be more like, okay, we're going to ease people in.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that the city council is also going to be looking at this. Like, I don't know if it's going to be when it's fully, implemented, but the city council is kind of looking at this going, okay, when this is done or available, we will no longer be out of compliance with the state, which means we can actually start arresting people for,
Yeah,
sleeping.
that's downside.
On one hand, it's a downside. On the other hand, it's not horrible because, look, there needs to be some consequences for certain things, but you have to be able to give people an option. And the Gospel Rescue Mission is a shitty fucking option.
That's a
for a lot
shitty
of
option.
people.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally have homeless people who they end up going there, and they have a hard time working while they're going there because the Gospel Rescue Mission requires, hey, you're going to stay here. You need to join us for prayer.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. It's not like once in the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't care if you believe our faith. Oh, you mean, no, you need to join us for prayer. That's going to be in the evening, in the morning, at lunch. Like, they do it so much. You have people who are homeless who are trying to find work who are actually having a difficult time finding work.
Yeah.
While they're there. And that's, all the other slew of things. Like, you cannot drink while you're there. And when I say that, I don't mean you cannot drink while you are on their premises. I mean, if you go out as a homeless person and decide, I've had a rough day, I need a beer. And then you have a beer and come back, they'll kick you out.
That sounds more like a cult than anything to me.
Gobble, gobble, one of us.
Yeah.
So, again, I don't think the Gospel Rescue Mission in and of itself is absolutely horrible. I think it's almost absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where it's like, it is a very specific thing for a very specific set of people.
Yeah,
it's not a low barrier entry. It's not a general. It's like the fact that people go, well, we have the Gospel Rescue Mission. Fuck off.
Yeah, the Gospel Rescue Mission sounds to me, to this observer, like the first step of a cult. Like, hey, we're taking in homeless people. We're doing this. They just have to follow our rules, And then suddenly it's like, oh, well, the homeless people are actually working for us and doing what we want to do. And, oh, they can only stay here. And then, then you start going down that cult slide.
It's like joining a commune.
Yeah.
It's a little bit nuts. And the thing is, this I am liking because, look, there's going to be problems here.
Yeah.
There will.
Sure.
Because you're talking about a low barrier homeless shelter. You're going to have some people who end up there who have mental problems. They're going to have drug problems. Sure. It is what it is. And part of this is going, we know there are going to be problems. We're going to help people to an extent work through them. There will be somewhere it's going to be like, cool, get the fuck out.
Yeah. Sure.
But you're going to have it's not going to be a matter of, okay, look, I get it. You were a drug addict. And, it's like part of being here is that you're clean and you've been clean for some months, but you had a relapse. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's deal with that. And, let's get you back on the horse and, shit happens. You do not start riding and never fall off the goddamn horse. What you need is support where you're going, okay, we're going to sober you up and then we're going to get this going again.
Right.
And if it's something where somebody goes, no, I'm not going to do that. I just want to be here. Okay, well then no. Yeah, you need to leave. But that's low barrier shelters. That's not bad.
Right. And what we're talking about happens fucking everywhere, though. It's not just low barrier shelters. It's just fucking everywhere because people are people kind of a thing.
Well, and this is not to imply either that, all homeless people are druggies. They're not.
No.
And lots of these people who are homeless are people who they either don't use drugs or they've never used drugs. They're not homeless because of a drug addiction. They're homeless because rent is fucking atrocious.
Yes.
And wages suck.
Yeah. So, they really do.
Yeah. This is because let me tell you, there's a lot of people in homes where they can pay the rent and stuff. And you know what those people are? Drug addicts.
Yeah.
So again, if drug addiction was the problem, you wouldn't have people who are drug addicts renting or owning their own houses.
Yeah.
So it's not the fucking problem. No. It is a problem.
Sure.
And it's something to address in a different manner, but it's not the cause of the homelessness issue.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of these pictures. I think I got 5, maybe 6 of them. So the first picture here is just the general plan, the layout that they have here, the site plan. And so looking at this, it's got a good use, it looks like, of the property. Now, as far as these units go, and we'll see some of these units again, none of them are really finished, but you'll kind of get an idea of what they look like on the inside. All of these units, to my understanding, have 2 beds in them.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a, what's the term? A college dorm.
Okay.
They're going to have a building for toilets and showers. That's going to be kind of like off in the back. That's fine.
Okay.
They have some stuff outside, I don't know if this is going to be, again, the final plan. This is just what was submitted.
Sure.
But they have an area here for as far as cooking goes, barbecue grill, outdoor tables. I don't know if those are going to be covered. I'm hoping to an extent that they will, because if they're, depending on what's happening with the main buildings, like the Mints wraparound services, navigation, day use stuff, I don't know what their kitchen services are.
Okay.
But I'm hoping at the very least for the outdoor preparing stuff, I'm hoping this stuff will be covered, and not just by Shade for Trees, but I'm hoping it'll be covered because look, people still need to prepare food and shit when it's cold and miserable out.
Yes, right.
And if you're having to sit outside to eat and it's raining, well, you want to have it be covered at least. So let's get on to the next picture here. Tick tock, tick tock. There we go.
Okay.
So we've got an aerial view. This one was from further back, about a week ago.
Okay.
They're just getting, this is from the street view. It's from a drone, I believe. It's looking in on the entrance. This is before anything was paved. You've got these, I think these are set up from, God damn it, shipping containers.
Oh, yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah, so these are shipping containers they got around. They don't have all of them in yet in this picture, but they've cut out areas for the doors. They're getting the road area flattened out so you can start paving it. And again, it's not a small property. This looks like this is a good setup for just basic, here we go, and it's functional. It is shelter.
Right.
So next picture we have is from the angle of the tree on the back of the lot. This is where I assume if the barbecue thing was correct, like the picnic tables and stuff, this is going to be from that angle, kind of.
Okay.
So stuff is a little bit more developed. Again, the road area there is mostly paved. Most of these, they don't have the doors in yet, but they have most of the windows. And the windows look kind of like...
look like schoolyard windows kind of a thing. They open... out.
I was gonna say that they open out kind of like that, but they remind me of like an RV window, kind of like that weird circular. It's not circular, but it's the rounded corners. And they kind of look like that.
Okay.
And I can, again, it's inexpensive.
Yeah,
you just need a window. These aren't necessarily meant to be luxurious. They're just meant to be shelter.
Yeah, it's shelter.
All right. Then we have a top aerial view.
Okay.
Again, I think this was taken the same day. Most of these pictures were probably taken the same day. And so we've got, again, construction of the road going in. You've got good drainage, and they're just, getting stuff taken care of. Stuff is taking shape. It is looking good.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking at these pictures and the thought just comes to my mind, like, how the fuck can you be fucking against this? Like, it's not in a neighborhood. Bi-Mart is right fucking next door to that place. Like, it looks like it's in a place where it should be.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything but being a shelter for homeless people.
So, and here's the thing. It's not technically in a neighborhood.
Right.
But it's like you're going to probably have some people, if they're against it, are going to go, well, it's by a neighborhood. Guess what? Everything's by a fucking neighborhood.
But there's only one way to get to this place.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking of the arguments going on in my mind that people have said. And I'm like, how is this worse than the fucking park?
It's not.
It's not.
So basically what you have going on here, you're going to have people who are going to be, they're homeless.
Sure.
We get it.
Fine.
It's low barrier shelter. You're going to have people who are going to be more secure. They're going to be in an actual shelter. And look, you've had people who've been living out on those camps for easily over a year in a tent.
Yeah.
I love to camp. I hate being in a tent in shitty weather. It fucking blows.
Yes, it does.
I have been in a tent in freezing weather. It also fucking blows.
Yeah.
So you're going to have people who are homeless who are now more secure.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to focus on things that will maybe help them not be homeless, because anybody who's been through fucking high school is very well aware of your hierarchy of needs.
Yep.
If you don't have your basic needs met, like food, shelter, and such, you're not going to focus on, I really need to better myself so that I can get a job, because you can't even meet your basic fucking needs.
Yeah.
And this here is going to help alleviate that. You're going to have better shelter. You're going to have, and there's still going to be stress.
Sure.
Absolutely will be. There's going to be
life.
Yeah, it's life. And there's going to be failures with this. You're going to have people who come in homeless, and they're not going to leave going, I got a home lined up. You're going to have people who are going to remain homeless with this. But again, that's life.
These people don't have to pray to Jesus 3 times a day and wear a Nike tracksuit.
No, they don't have to pray to Jesus. They don't have to wear a Nike tracksuit. And now I'm pretty sure it's going to be drug free, but at the same time, it's not a matter of, okay, you fucked up for the first time. Get out. I don't think it's going to be a matter of, okay, you being an adult went to a bar and had a single drink. Get out.
Yeah.
They're trying to also set this up so that some of these people, if they have an animal like a dog, if the dog's under a certain size, I think they're trying to set it up where it's like, okay, we're going to try to provide kennels that will fit under the beds here. And if your dog's under a certain size, congrats.
Yeah.
You have, it's like you can help, like shelter with your dog.
And it's like we brought up before, like some of these people might already have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They might be bringing in $2,000 a month.
Yep.
But guess what? They can't afford rent. They can't afford electricity. They can't do this. They have no person to go to. You know, maybe they don't have family here. For whatever reason, this is an option to them, and this is a great option.
It is. And now, granted, this is not a one-size-fits-all option.
Exactly.
It's
Sure.
not. And we've brought this up on the show before. We've talked about this with while he was running for commissioner, Matt. But it's like there's still going to be situations where this is great for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be great for a lot of people who are homeless.
Sure.
Because you're going to have people who, they're living outside, they're living inside their vehicle. I don't think there's going to be parking here for people who have a vehicle, for a lot of that.
Okay.
You're going to have people who live in a little RV. And they need a place to park. You're going to have families that are homeless. Like, okay, mom, dad, couple kids, they're homeless. And this is not going to provide the kind of opportunity for them because these are like little, again, dormitory like rooms.
No, this is a great step. I am all for this step. But yes, as we have discussed previously, there needs to be
more
other types of places to go to.
There needs to be some diversification with this.
Yeah.
We got a couple more pictures I think to go over. So this is one from the inside of one.
Okay.
And again, everything's very rough. It is not by any means. It's not finished.
Okay.
But we have two cot-like beds in structures. The beds have what looks like it's going to be storage underneath. And when I say cot-like beds, I mean, again, these are not going to be the world's most comfortable beds. If anybody has ever slept on a cot, you're probably halfway there to understanding what's going to be going on.
Yeah.
But single light switch, light above.
Okay.
It's basic fucking it's a step up from a tent.
Yeah.
And that was the last picture.
Okay.
So that I'm actually tickled pink that is taking place.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's looking good. I'm still fucking livid that the current city council took the grant that the prior city council had approved for there to be a low barrier homeless shelter and said, no, we're canceling it. And now on one hand, it's cool that it's like, okay, well, now we have to spend literally twice as much in order to make this because of, the state's busting our balls over this. We should never have had to do that.
We should never have had to fucking do that.
It would not have been this situation, but we should have already had a low barrier shelter up. It should have been completed at least a year ago. And then we should have been hitting the point now of going, okay, we need more diverse shelter. As we said, we should be at that stage.
We should be at that stage. Yeah.
So I'm glad that this is happening. I have nothing to say about Parker's Place where it's like, oh my God, you guys, what did you do? Because it wasn't their fault.
It's not their fault. And I'm glad that they have stepped up, and it looks like, for what it is, it looks like it's going to be a nice little place.
Yeah. Again, it's going to be functional is what it looks like. And I appreciate functional.
Yeah.
So next we're going to get into the JPR article. This one's going to take a while.
Oh boy.
So this article is titled "A Low-Income Housing Program is Pouring Big Money into Housing Many Oregonians Can't Afford."
God damn it.
By Tony Schick.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Sure.
Okay. So the federal tax credit provides up to $15 billion in subsidies a year to help developers build apartments. It's created housing that's often no more affordable than the market rate. On any given night, thousands of people sleep on the streets in Portland, Oregon. They seek shelter in tents, bushes, and overpasses in a city that has struggled with one of the worst housing crises in the country. Ours are fun. Portland, like many cities, has raced to increase its supply of affordable housing by turning to a federal program that has existed since the 1980s, the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit. It provides up to $15 billion in tax credit a year nationally to help developers build apartments. Portland supplemented the federal construction money with local dollars, creating incentives that were hard to turn down. But to meet the affordability requirements, all the developers needed to do, in most cases, was put rent within rent within reach of someone's earning 60% of the median income. An earning threshold that equates to about $75,000 annually for a family of 4. It turns out that this amount of rent is now close to what typical Portlanders charge without any subsidies. Yeah. The result of the federal tax credit has been a glut of apartments costing renters on the order of about $1,400 a month for a 1-bedroom. That's a manageable outlay for a family making $75,000 a year, but nearly half the monthly income of someone who earns $35,000 at the local minimum wage. Nearly 2,000 of Portland's subsidized units sat vacant and unused at last count. As the Oregonian and Willamette Week have reported, the same situation has repeated from Seattle to the San Francisco Bay Area to Denver. Economists and other academic researchers have been warning for decades that this is precisely the sort of problem that the low-income housing tax credit was likely to create.
Huh, weird. Weird that the smart people knew what was going to happen.
Shock and awe.
Uh-huh.
Studies have concluded that the program, which currently supports 9 out of every 10 subsidized units built in America, is an expensive and ineffective way to house people who can't afford it. Researchers have said it doesn't subsidize housing deeply enough to reach truly low-income renters. So it produces housing in markets and at income levels that are already have a surplus instead of filling in a shortage. So basically, instead of creating what's needed, they're creating more of what we have.
Right.
Independent researchers have found little evidence that it has expanded the overall housing supply beyond what the market would have produced without it. Its complexity has birthed an industry of affordable housing-focused developers, investors, lawyers, and accounting specialists who profit off the tax credit.
God.
I'm not saying I think profit should be illegal.
No.
I'm saying profiting off of this should be illegal.
Yeah.
Between 1991 and 2024, a dozen studies concluded that many more people could benefit if the money were spent on rental vouchers, which lets consumers rather than the government decide which landlords get the tax subsidies. Estimates went as high as twice the impact for the dollar. So again, the government supplying stuff is not necessarily bad.
No.
But how the government supplies stuff can be an issue.
Yeah.
So right now, it sounds like the government's just paying for this and telling people where they can go, which doesn't necessarily work.
No.
What we need is to have the government say, we will cover the cost up to this much. You can find where you can go.
Yeah.
And certain landlords who do this have to meet certain standards, both in how much they're charging and the like.
Yeah.
So again, government regulation is not bad.
Right. No, I feel like the people that are building and the landlords, they'll build this quote unquote, oh, well, this is going to be low income, housing and everything. But then they build it and it's like, well, I mean, listen, this is a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath place. I mean, on the market, this would go for $1,500 a month, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you have just ruined what this was supposed to be for.
Yeah, no, it's look, you built it. It's supposed to be low income. You're not supposed to make a profit off it.
Right.
You're supposed to at value. So rent it at what it, at value.
Yeah.
It should be probably, if not half of that, max 2/3.
And that's why so many of these are fucking still empty, because it's like they got the subsidy, they're getting paid, they're doing it, but then at the end of the day, it's like, oh well, this is still a $1,500 place.
Well, it does make me wonder too if it would be a good idea, and I'm wondering this in absolute sarcasm. But I'm wondering, would it be a good idea if the government were to, contract to have people make these and then landlords to manage it, to go, and here's the thing. You have to fill up X amount of these. Like, you have to have 80% of these occupied. And if you have less than 80% of these occupied, you're charging too fucking much.
Yeah, and there's going to be a penalty to that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Make it a painful penalty.
Yeah.
So I don't think people should go bankrupt renting these out. But at the same time, you shouldn't be gouging people.
If you're calling it low-income housing,
it needs to be low.
The people that are there are going to be low-income earners.
Yeah. No, it needs to be low income.
Yeah.
Go figure. Okay. So the evidence is telling us this program is lacking its reason to exist, said Kirk McClure, an emeritus professor of urban planning at the University of Kansas and a leading critic of the tax credits. We should reform the program to make it work better. McClure and others have brought their concerns to Congress. He recommended diverting money into rental vouchers for tenants, or else changing the tax credit rules to reward only developers who build units in genuinely short supply, those affordable to people at the very bottom of the income ladder. So yeah, basically saying either give the money to, give it to vouchers so that people can, go where they need to, or make sure that people are actually charging low income. Yeah. Not like, hey, I'm gouging you. Like, okay, this is meant to be affordable for you, the person who doesn't make very much.
Yes.
So the ideas never went anywhere. Shocker.
Wow.
I know.
Amazing.
Instead, money for the tax credit has grown as at a much faster rate than rental assistance vouchers since the 2000s. Data from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the U.S. Treasury shows rock-solid support from industries that benefit from the tax credit, and both parties in Congress has made it the linchpin of the U.S. housing policy. The program leverages housing market forces, entrepreneurial innovations, and private accountability to increase housing supply. Former HUD Secretary Ben Carson, the guy who is the brain surgeon who also thinks the pyramids were built for grain storage. That moron.
That guy.
Yeah. Told the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform in 2025. Now, something else that I want to bring up pertaining to this kind of stuff.
Sure.
There are certain things that I think like vouchers are not great for, or at least the way we try to implement them are not great for.
Yeah.
Education.
Yes.
I think schools should be funded. Period.
Yeah.
I do think that there is some validation to the idea of school choice in the sense of, okay, look, this school that my kid is going to because that's where they're zoned really isn't great. And there's another school that's technically very much within driving distance and they have a much better outcome. It's like, can I send my kid there? Like, school voucher in that sense, I'm not necessarily against. I am against the idea of school voucher of, I just want to take my school voucher and I want to send my kid to Christian school. It's like, no, fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. And, again, we're the richest country in the history of forever. So the reason why you don't fund schools is because you want to fuck over a certain population, or you want to make a certain population with money, have them be able to go to the good schools instead. And, not have an even playing field.
Look, I'm not saying that having your labor force be poorly educated or just educated enough to do the job is not beneficial to them. I'm just saying that, look, we have a very wealthy population that they like to be well educated, which is also weird because you have some of the dumbest fucks who are rich in this country.
Yeah.
But they don't want a well educated proletariat. Because if you have a well-educated proletariat, you have people that when the market's going shitty because, people with the money are mismanaging it and turning it into just a fucking, they're treating it like it's their own personal slush fund.
Oh, really? You don't say.
Yeah, go figure. When it pisses people off who are, middle class and lower income, but they're well educated, they know because, they're well educated. We have shit we can do to stop this.
Hell yeah.
And what was it? I think Nixon had been referenced saying that they wanted to cut education, particularly this is during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
This is when you start having colleges started not getting quite as much funding as they used to be getting. And then you had it. So, okay, now you have to take out student loans more frequently to do college. It started back in the 60s. And then like in the 90s and such, that's when it just went through the roof.
Yeah.
But Nixon was very much of this idea, you do not want to have an educated proletariat, because when the economy does shitty and they're the ones suffering, they're educated and they know why it's doing shitty,
right,
and why they're suffering. And they can focus that rage onto something that you don't want them to, because usually it's the rich fuckers. So yeah. Thank you, Nixon, and that for.
And this is why we're here today.
It is.
Yeah.
But the voucher thing.
Yeah.
I think with things like housing, that could actually work. Now, what you're going to have be an issue with this, or at least it's going to be an argument, is if you do go to the voucher system like that, you're going to have people, it's like, okay, well, you can't force landlords to take the vouchers.
Right.
So you're going to have landlords who aren't going to want to take the vouchers because they don't want to deal with that. They just want to deal with the money and not the vouchers. Like, okay. So basically then what you need to do is the voucher is worth so much that you get back from the government. So you give it to a landlord, they trade it and get cash. And it's a matter of, as long as they are meeting, like that voucher meets what you're saying you need for rent.
Yeah.
You treat it like money. Like you cannot turn it down if it's enough. Now, if you're renting out, like a 4-bedroom, 3-bath apartment and charging like $3,000 a month or whatever, I don't fucking know. I don't rent. We own.
Yeah.
But it's if you're charging that much and somebody comes up the voucher for like $1,000 a month and goes, here, take this. You can look at it and go, cool. No.
Yeah.
But if you're renting a place for, $1,000 a month and somebody comes up and says, I have a voucher from the government for $1,000 a month, other than, doing the standard landlord background checks, if there's no viable reason to say, no, I don't want to deal with this, fuck you.
Yeah.
You have to take that, and congrats, you now have a tenant.
Yeah.
Hooray. I think that could work very well.
Yeah, I think so too.
I also think that it could work very well to just go, hey, you guys built this and you're managing it and you did that with the idea that this is going to be low income. Cool. Charge it for low fucking income.
Yeah.
Don't gouge people. Make it so that people...
Yeah.
And one of the things I know we've brought up on the show, one of the reasons that rent and shit is so high is because people, largely at this point boomers and some Gen Xers, they view property as an investment.
Sure.
Not as a shelter, not as a home.
Yeah.
It's their retirement.
Right.
We need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of people where, look, if it's an investment, your investment, in order to be worthwhile, has to grow continually.
Yeah.
And if you suddenly have this large influx of housing that's not, like costing an arm and a leg, well, then that provides competition for what you might have, or for the value of what you might have. And that competition drives the value of it down. Yes. And suddenly your house that you may own, or your apartments that you rent to get, for your retirement, they're not making as much because you have people going, hold on. I'm getting a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment here from you, the asshole. And it's costing me like $1,800 a month.
Yeah.
But I could go to this place where it might not be quite as nice, or it might be as nice, who knows? But it's like, it's the same 2-bed, 1-bath apartment. And we're talking like, instead of 1,800, we're talking like 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Just peace out. You're going to leave.
Yeah.
And the thing is, congrats. Now you have an apartment that's not being rented, which is costing you revenue, which means you need to drop the price of your rent. And on one hand, I empathize to an extent. Like if you are a landowner and you are actually renting your property for its value and a little bit more so that you have a little bit of income, but it's not a lot, I empathize with you on that. But for the landlords who are gouging people, slumlords, get fucked.
Yeah. Fuck off.
So, okay, let's see. Where were we here? Oh, yes. Among the tax credits, other prominent backers are two Northwest Democrats on the Senate Committee of Finance, Ron Wyden of Oregon and Maria Cantwell of Washington. Cantwell has introduced bills to increase funding for the existing tax credit, and Wyden has proposed expanding the targets of the credits to the benefits, not just to low-income families, but also middle-income households, the opposite of what McClure says needs to happen. So, I don't think... I'm kind of with McClure on this.
Yeah.
Now, middle-income households are feeling a pinch because, a lower tide lowers all ships, and this is a lower fucking tide.
Yeah.
But in order to get this taken care of, we don't need to give the middle class more money for this. What we need to do is we need to make it more affordable for the poor people, for the lower class. And if it's more affordable for them, it's going to subsequently become more affordable for the middle class. So again, giving these vouchers to middle class too, all that's going to do is make it so that, I can just, afford easily to be in another place, and the housing situation hasn't changed at all for people who are poor.
And I mean, this is just one aspect of a wider problem. And that problem being where the money goes. There's companies out there that are making billions of dollars that are only paying people barely more than minimum wage.
Yeah.
And if you're only making barely more than minimum wage, then you can't afford the apartments. You can't do it. So yes, I think it's good that the government could give you a voucher and do that. My issue is that person making $17, $18 an hour, they can afford to pay them more.
Yeah.
They can afford to give them more. If your company is $1 billion fucking company,
Walmart,
there is no fucking reason in my mind why someone is making minimum wage.
No, there's not.
There's not.
It's at that point, it's a choice because is the person or people who own and run that company, you are choosing, instead of choosing to be rich and paying your employees a decent wage, you are choosing to be obscenely rich and to fuck over your employees.
And being part of the problem. And complaining about that problem that they themselves have fucking made.
Yeah.
And so we need... Let's have vouchers. I don't know. Let's fucking have social safety nets in this country.
Let's have safety nets. If we're going to do the vouchers go to the low class.
The lower,
the economically lower class people. I still think that there needs to be rent control.
Yeah.
Like implement nationwide rent control.
Yeah.
And look, for those of you who might be our age, in our early-ish 40s or older, you might be aware of this show from the 90s about a group of people who were buddies, you might say. I believe the show was called Compatriots, Friends, even. And there was this thing where people for a while, like back when the show first came out, I think they explained it once. Very briefly, but you kind of looked at that and wondered, how the fuck do these people afford this place? Because it's a two huge fucking apartments in New York.
Yeah.
And these are apartments that this should cost them tens of thousands of dollars a month. What the fuck is going on? And that's, by the way, in the 90s.
In the 90s, yeah.
And they explained why. The reason why is because the apartments were under rent control. So the landlords couldn't just arbitrarily jack up the rent.
Yeah.
The rent was affordable. And that's something where it worked great in New York back in the 90s when they had
Yeah.
it, and the 80s too, I believe. It's something that on a national level, I think we need to implement. There needs to be some form of rent control.
Yeah, because, trickle down economics doesn't work, but fucking greed trickles down everywhere.
Yeah. Everybody wants a bigger slice of the pie.
Yep.
And at this point, look, if you got into being a landlord just to make ends meet, hooray.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. But if you're trying to be a landlord to try to, look, I want to do minimal work, I want to make bank, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And then complain that nobody wants to work.
or rent your apartments. Okay. So, moving on with this. Both Wyden and Cantwell say Congress should hold more hearings to ensure the program is run efficiently, but they also defended it in written statements to the Oregon Public Broadcasting and ProPublica. There isn't any silver bullet to the housing crisis in Oregon and around the country, Wyden's statement said, but the low-income housing tax credit has been the most successful federal housing construction program on the books for decades and is the only housing program Republicans haven't tried to gut. I think that last part there is the actual reason there. It's the one the Republicans haven't tried to gut. I think there are plenty that could be more effective, or there's many ways that they could be more effective. Again, lowering the cost of housing, putting regulations where if you're building low-income housing, you don't get to price gouge. These are things that, would be effective, and the Republicans don't want that because that hurts profits and that bad.
Because they're greed.
Yep. Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat of Oregon, listens to a question during the interview at Oregon Public Broadcasting in Portland, Oregon on May 6th, 2026. Indeed, President Donald Trump has sought to cut housing programs such as rent assistance. And I wonder why, because he was the fuck who was a landlord who, inherited that kind of thing from his daddy. So go figure, he doesn't like rent assistance and shit.
Weird.
But as a part of his spending package last year, Congress approved the biggest expansion of low-income housing tax credit in decades. I don't think that, one, he wanted to do that, but also, that's a mistake, McClure said. It won't alleviate homelessness or the housing shortage for people at the lowest incomes, he said. It will just create more buildings that compete with the market and with one another for the same pool of renters.
Yeah, we're seeing that here in this fucking town. We have all these building projects going up, all these new apartments, but it's $1,500 a month.
Yeah, it's
what?
It's okay, we have more housing, but it's just as expensive.
But it's just as expensive.
If you're building more and the prices aren't coming down, then okay. Do you remember from high school economics the idea of supply and demand?
Yeah. Oh, I remember that quaint idea.
So if supply is really high, but demand is really low, and we're going to say demand is low not because people don't want it. We're going to say demand is low because I don't have the money. So if you don't have the money, well, then the demand's not there because people can't afford it.
Yeah.
I recall that if demand's low, well, then the price goes down low to meet demand until you get people.
Yeah.
Do you see that happening?
Yeah.
No.
That's why I say that whole, the law of supply and demand. No, it's fucking dead.
It's quaint.
It's dead.
So, let's see. McLean recounted seeing a brand new affordable housing complex near his home in Kansas not long ago with a sign enticing tenants of another government-backed complex down the street promoting newer units at the same price. So again,
wow.
Yeah, it's hey, this is unaffordable for you. Down the street, there's government. Oh, it's also the same price.
Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah.
So the taxpayers of the United States subsidized the creation of this new property to help bankrupt another federally subsidized property, he said. That is stupidity 101.
Yep.
We have got to be better stewards of the American taxpayer dollar. So,
yeah.
Next part of this article, subsidized vacancies. Oregon's affordable housing production has skyrocketed in recent years. So have rents and homelessness.
Jesus Christ.
Over the past decade, Oregon lawmakers doubled funding for the state's affordable housing tax credit and started offering low interest and deferred loans for construction. Voters in the Portland area, meanwhile, passed housing bonds totaling more than $900 million. Developers can use that money to secure federal housing tax credits. The state went from building about 1,800 affordable units a year pre-pandemic to nearly 5,000 last year.
Jeez.
Cough, cough, equies. Industries that benefit from the tax credit say it's the engine that makes that kind of building boom possible. Affordable Housing Tax Credit Coalition, representing lenders, developers, and others in the industry have called this program the most effective tool we have to meet the affordable housing needs in rural, suburban, and urban areas. Jennifer Schwartz, I think I'm saying that right, Director of Tax and Housing Advocacy for the National Council of State Housing Agencies, which advocates for the tax credit and other housing programs administered by the states, said the housing market by itself won't produce big enough supply of housing within reach of low-income renters. That goes for even those who receive federal rent vouchers, she said. It costs too much to build housing, to turn around and rent it to households who are low-income households, Schwartz said, unless you have some sort of incentive like the housing credits. But in Portland, all that new construction hasn't made a dent in the city's affordability crisis. A report from the Portland Housing Bureau in 2025 found that rent and home sale prices were growing faster than incomes, even as the city's vacancy rate was also rising.
Yep. Well, there we go. I mean, we've already said it.
Yep.
Yeah.
The vacancy rate was roughly 7.6% as of May, according to Aaron Kirk Douglas, director of the market intelligence at the Portland-based brokerage HFO, Investment Real Estate. Vacancies are even higher for ostensibly affordable units, 11%, leaving nearly 2,000 units unused. Housing industry experts consider 5% vacancy to be a baseline for the ordinary turnover.
Oh my God.
So yeah, they're like more than double that. That's great. The time it takes to verify that a tenant's income meets the tax credit requirements and prep units for move-in played a role in the struggle to fill vacancies vacant units built. Reading is fun. With the federal subsidy. But housing advocates say the biggest barrier is price.
Yeah, that's...
Again, yeah, it's kind of like preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
The gap between market rate rents and affordable housing rents has shrunk, and not just in Portland. By one industry estimate, it is more than a dozen U.S. cities. At least 40% of affordable housing was competing with market rate building rates in 2025.
There's no reason for fucking that.
No, there's not.
That's fucking fucked up.
Again, it's like the only reason I can think of with this, like why the government would allow this, is going again back to the idea of people use property as an investment. Yeah. And if you do that and you lower the cost of property so that people can afford it, those who have property who are using it as an investment, they're going to be very pissed off.
Yeah.
And they are voters also. And at some point, they're going to need to buck the fuck up and go, okay, look, we can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
So we're either going to piss off people who are using property as an investment because of some bullshit pyramid scheme thing in the 80s and 90s, or we're just going to let people be homeless.
Yeah.
One of those two.
And they would rather choose people to be homeless if they can't afford it. It's just like these fucking huge ass apartment complexes, say like in Medford, where it's like the people in there are paying like $1,600 a month for a 2-bedroom, or they're paying $1,500 a month for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
And we're not talking like, oh, well, there's only like 10 of these. No, these are massive properties with like hundreds
Yeah.
of units on them, each going for $1,600 a month. It is fucked up to me that the owner of that every year comes around and says, well, hey, we gotta jack your rent up $100 a month, because of, because of reasons, because it's harder to take the trash out now. Oh, it's harder to do the utilities.
Well, one of the things that gets me too is if we're talking about profit, pure profit.
Yeah.
There's a balance here. Okay.
Yes.
Because if you don't have enough people to afford your product, they're not going to buy it.
Sure.
So jacking up the price only works so much. And then it's like, okay, there are people who will buy it because they can afford it and they need it.
Yeah.
But you have people who need it and they can't afford it, so they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
And at that point, when you're at that point where I have so many empty fucking properties because of this, it would make sense to lower the cost of your property,
right,
and take less of a profit on it so that you can get somebody in there. So you're taking some kind of a profit.
Sure. But what I'm saying is that there's owners in Medford who are literally making millions of dollars a year on these apartment complexes. They don't do anything. They are fucking buying Ferraris and everything. And when you show up to your fucking apartment complex, with basically the accumulated wealth of those people that are paying you money, that's a little fucked up.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be. It's like we've already said. This should not be, necessarily a for-profit enterprise. You should not look at what the other apartment complex is making down the street and decide, oh, well, that owner brought in this much money and I'm only bringing in this much money. Well, I should bring in that much money. No, that's fucked up. And this is where we need rent controls. And this is where we need less fucking greed in the goddamn industry.
Yeah.
But it's never going to happen until the government comes in and says, no, we cannot do this anymore. And when is that going to ever happen?
Well, it's going to be a while because, again, a lot of these people who are, what's the term, really wealthy.
Yeah.
They lobby.
Oh, yeah, they do.
lobby very well. And so it's like, so you have politicians who it's like, well, all I ever hear from is this. No, you hear from other people too. That's just the loudest voice because they have money and they give you money. Yeah. So moving back to the article.
Okay.
Because we're almost an hour into this now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So in the Portland suburb of Gresham, federal rules cap a 2-bedroom apartment built with the low-income housing tax credit at $1,675 a month. Zillow puts the equivalent market rate apartment at $1,525. So it's a 2-bedroom apartment, low-income housing, and they are charging $150 more than the Zillow equivalent.
Yeah.
For a okay, fine.
Okay.
Fuck it. Operators of the new $553.8 million development in the Northeast Portland, built with the tax credit and the local housing bond, had trouble filling studio and 1-bedroom apartments whose affordable rent were near market rate. They began offering a month of free rent for new tenants, according to the March report from the committee that oversees the region's housing bond. Or you know what else you could do, as we said, lower the fucking rate you're charging.
Lower the fucking rate.
Affordable housing providers, which in Portland are predominantly nonprofit organizations, are also increasing their marketing budget to attract renters away from market rate buildings. Honestly, I think if you lower the rate, that will do more to attract renters than, But, okay. The idea is we're competing with the market. The idea that we are competing with the market would have been unfathomable a few years ago, said Margaret Salazar, CEO of Reach Community Development Corporation, one of Portland's largest affordable housing providers. Salazar, who led Oregon's state housing agencies during the COVID-19 pandemic and later worked as a regional director for HUD, is a longtime proponent of the low-income housing tax credit. But she said the people who can afford to rent apartments the tax credit has produced would rather move into a market rate apartment for similar money with fewer rules and restrictions. So basically, they're charging too fucking much.
Yeah.
They're offering less for the same price as something that offers, again,
This is
retarded.
Fucking enraging.
Yeah.
Because the fucking answer is right the fuck there.
Yeah, this is one of those things I will use the R word for. This is retarded.
It's fucking right there.
Yeah. So it's become a slimmer and slimmer slice of residents that Reach can serve, she said. Suddenly, we're competing for this little slice of people. Meanwhile, a substantial group of Portland area residents remains priced out. HUD data shows that more than 90,000 households in Monmouth County earn less than the 60% of the median income that a family would typically need to afford a federally subsidized unit. The precise number of families who can't afford affordable units is unclear because it depends on variations in household size, actual rent levels, and other subsidies that might reduce rents further. Salazar said that right now, Reach can rent to people at lower income levels only if it can find additional subsidies such as housing vouchers. And funding for vouchers is so limited that only 1 in 4 people who qualify are able to get them.
Wow.
Again, this is supposed to be a nonprofit.
Yeah.
If you are in a nonprofit and the private market which is profit driven, is outperforming you on price, you're fucking up. This is one of those things where it's like, for years you had all of these people who are very pro-capitalism, like unfettered capitalism.
Oh yeah.
Who would go, well, we can't have the government do this because then they're going to be able to outcompete the private sector because the private sector can't compete with the government because the government's tax laws, all this other stuff. And then you're going to put those private businesses out of business. And right here, we literally have an instance of a nonprofit. You should literally be able to outcompete these people because the primary driver here of prices being higher is the fact that you're trying to get a profit. And as a nonprofit, you are not trying to do that.
Yeah.
So it should be cheaper.
Should be.
Okay. Despite the convergence of rent levels in market rate and subsidized housing, supporters of the tax credit say it remains valuable because the units it subsidizes are constrained from raising rents faster than incomes, and there's no guarantee market rate rents will remain at the level in the future. That's spiffy, but if people can't afford it now, whoop-de-fucking-do.
And how fast are fucking wages increasing?
Yeah, not very fast.
Yeah,
at all.
not fast at all.
But Steve Rudman, who ran the local housing authority in the Portland area for more than a decade, said the fact that the tax credit is now delivering market rate housing rather than housing for the poorest households raises an existential question for the federal program. No shit. What is this thing really doing, Rudman said. What are the low-income housing tax credits? I believe this is the last section on here. I think they had 3. I'm hoping.
Okay.
A stopgap takes off.
Oh, let's hope.
Criticism of the federal construction credit has been near constant since it began. In the Reagan era, housing experts began to worry rent would become unaffordable amid deep cuts to housing programs and the drafting of the Tax Reform Act, which eliminated several tax shelters for real estate. Thank you, Reagan, for fucking us again.
Boy, every fucking time that guy's goddamn name comes up, it's something else where I'm like, man, if that guy wasn't president, I mean, things might not be that much better.
But they'd be better.
But they might be better.
Yeah. McClure, an economist for the city of Boston at the time, worked with others to design a tax credit that would reward affordable housing production. It was meant to be a 3-year stopgap until we could come up with something better, he said. The idea was to incorporate low-income housing into market-rate housing construction that was already taking place. Developers could receive tax credit if they capped rents for certain portions of the apartments in their building, and they could continue to rent the rest at a rate or an amount they chose. Mm-hmm. So again, not necessarily rent control, but kind of in that vein.
Yeah.
McClure crafted letters for Boston's mayor to send Congress in support of the idea. His analysis helped decide the subsidy amount. Developers could offset 70% of the cost of new builds or 30% of the cost of a rehab. Congress signed off on this in 1986. Almost immediately, the program diverged from the outcomes McClure had envisioned. He and other drafters of the tax credit had thought developers would use it to offer deep discounts on a small number of units, allowing them to charge market rates on the rest. But developers found it more profitable to subsidize 100% of their units at the smallest allowable discounts, a rent affordable to households at 60% of median income. In 1992, as lawmakers considered making the 6-year low-income housing tax credit permanent, an analysis by the Congressional Budget Office declared the program unlikely to substantially increase the supply of affordable housing and more suited to the needs of investors than poor renters. For one, the tax credit cost a lot to administer, Congress economists said. They also pointed to the evidence that subsidized housing production dampened market rate construction. Whoop-de-doo. that one's kind of like, I don't really give a shit, though. So Congress was preparing to give developers $3 billion through the tax credit as of 1992. Putting that money into housing vouchers instead, the CBO concluded would help 550,000 households, more than twice as many as would benefit from the construction tax credit. The numbers echoed findings from the earlier HUD evaluation of tax credit versus vouchers. Congress made the tax credit permanent a year later. As time wore on, McClure's emerging doubts about a program he originally expected to be temporary only deepened. When the Fannie Mae Foundation hired him in 1997 to analyze how the tax credit was doing, he concluded it was a very inefficient subsidy delivery mechanism that didn't produce as much housing as it should have. Other studies came to similar conclusions as McClure. HUD and the Congressional Budget Office, at least 5 found the tax credit little to increase the overall housing supply. The Government Accountability Office noted problems with the program in 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018.
Wow.
Gee, those were all kind of some orange shit Gibbons years.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily to do with this specifically,
Sure.
just pointing it out.
Yeah.
Finding it lacked basic oversight to show the federal funds worked as intended. A 2017 investigation by NPR and Frontline documented numerous examples of waste and fraud, including one developer pocketing tax credits without building the required housing.
Holy fucking shit.
So, you know how, I'm not saying this is the cause of it, but you know how people say, yeah, smaller government?
Yeah.
This is what smaller government does.
Yeah.
Is, you have this, but there's no oversight with it because we're a small government.
Yeah.
We don't have enough to do this.
So if I'm a contractor, let's say, I can be like, oh yeah, I'll take that money and I'll build these houses. And then instead what I do is fuck all and I pocket the money.
but nobody's checking on you to make sure you're
checking
not.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, small government. Hooray.
Yeah.
So, given the available evidence on the program performance, we should certainly not expand the tax credit program. Edgar Olson, professor emeritus, I should know how to say that, of economics at the University of Virginia, wrote in a 2017 article for the American Enterprise Institute. The existing evidence argues for terminating it. There are some critics within Congress. Representative Glenn Gothram, a Republican from Wisconsin, introduced a bill to kill the program last year, calling it a cash grab for developers and the banks. But the bill went nowhere.
Ah, weird.
Olson, like McClure, remains adamant today about what he considers the tax program's uselessness. In a recent interview, he told OPB and ProPublica that he's urged policymakers in academic articles and in testimony to re-examine whether the program has any value at all.
Yeah. I think there's a huge problem there, and it's contributing to what's going on. You have developers that are taking these payments, that are building shit, but then selling it at market value when it shouldn't be at market value.
No, they're literally getting tax credit to subsidize these profits they'd have. And instead of saying, okay, well, I'm going to take that and build this and either sell it or rent it at a much lower rate because I was able to build this with it being subsidized. So no, I'm going to take that subsidy. I'm going to pocket it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to charge the market rate because fuck, I want to get more money out of it.
They're basically double dipping.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up.
Very much so. And here's the thing. This is one of those things where, again, greed, as you've mentioned numerous times before, is a huge factor in this. So we have the cost of building stuff is going exceptionally high through the roof because these greedy assholes are just, again, pocketing all the money they can.
Yep.
You have people who already have housing that's built who want to see their investment rise.
Yeah.
So they want this stuff to be more and more expensive. Doesn't matter if their grandkids can't afford anything. The fact that it's like, well, my investment's going really, really high, so I'm rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
This is very much a greed issue.
Yeah.
And one of the things that drove me up the wall here is it's both right and it's wrong. When I think it was Ron Wyden from the article had said there's no silver bullet for this.
Yeah.
And yes and no.
Yeah.
It's right because, the silver bullet for this would require, what's the term? Motivation.
Yes.
From Congress.
Yeah.
It would require motivation from your political leaders. That's not there.
No.
You do have some people who are motivated, but it's not enough, and they're not going to actually try to get something done. They're going to kick the can down the road as long as they can, because if they don't have to deal with it, they don't have to deal with it. But the no here is there's a very obvious silver bullet for this. First, you stop treating property like a fucking investment.
Yeah.
You make it so that, hey, look, you can invest in lots of things.
Yeah.
Property to live in is not it.
Yeah.
I don't care if you make that like flat out illegal or if you regulate it heavily.
Yeah.
But you make it so that it is not something that's incredibly profitable. The other thing you're going to do is, and this is going to require more government. So all them people who go, nope, small government. So we want small, efficient. We want efficient government.
Oh, yeah.
And as we pointed out, efficient and effective are not the same fucking thing.
Nope.
You need effective government. You need government that will back itself up and go, oh, you mean we gave you these subsidies to build this with the understanding that you were going to then sell these properties to people at an affordable price for low-income houses, and you're not doing that?
Yeah.
Well, cool thing, because of this contract, and you said you were going to do that, first, we are now confiscating the properties. We are going to be selling them at, like the actual value that you said you would. So you get none of this, by the way. Fuck off. And depending on how many of these you did and how much, you made how many million? Okay, cool. Prison.
Yeah.
That's fraud.
Yeah.
Prison.
Fraud.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
No, I think we need to start seeing that. And with the whole idea of small government is the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
We need to have effective government, not small government.
Yeah.
And we need to actually treat housing like this is a necessity. This is not some disposable income thing. This is not a luxury item. Now, there are some that are luxury items.
Sure.
If you're like just a couple and 2 kids and you're buying like a 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, fuck off. You've money. Fuck off. But if you are literally just like a simple family of 4 or 5, and you are getting a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment with 1.5 to 2 bathrooms, that's basically just a necessity.
Yeah.
That you need to be able to meet those needs. And that is where this gets just, it's not complicated, and yet for some reason it is.
It's not complicated, and it is, and there's a lot of moving parts. But at the end of the day, when we're just talking about people who are struggling to afford basic necessities, then something has to be done about the developers, about landlords who just flat out do not care and only see profit. There has to be something done. You cannot accept something from the government to build low-income houses and rent them out at market value rates.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's fraud.
That's what that is.
And we should deal with fraud.
You should deal with the fraud.
All right. Well, Mr. Morgan, that was the end of the article. Is there anything else that you want to touch on as we close out this episode?
Oh man, there's so much.
I mean, look, I'll be honest. I'm not a violent person.
No.
I don't approve of violence.
Yeah.
But this kind of stuff, having to research it, read it, talk about it, this is the kind of thing, and this is not me advocating this, but in the base lizard brain portion of my brain, this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to touch rich people with a hickory stick over and over again. And I'm not saying I will do that. I'm not saying I should do that.
No.
But this is the kind of thing that is, there are serious issues, and they shouldn't even be issues.
See, these are things that are more like alarm bells that go off in my head. It's like, okay, look, guys, I don't care if you're rich. Fine, fuck it. Good for you. Hooray, you won capitalism. Whatever. Okay?
Have a trophy.
Have a trophy. Fine. But if you don't support the lower classes in some way, if you do this shit, if you're committing fraud, if you're accepting this stuff, and you're still making hand over fist on money off the backs of people who can't afford it, this is a warning sign in my head, and it should be a warning to you, but I don't know if you guys actually view it as a warning, which is also a problem.
Yeah.
But if this shit keeps going on, if prices keep rising and you keep pricing people out who can't afford it without giving them something, then shit is going to start happening where, you know, at first you're going to clutch your pearls and be like, oh, I can't believe that person did that. You know, these, like, you know, Luigi Mangione, okay? Like, okay, that's an outlier. Am I saying what he did was right? No, but it's a pebble, okay? And that pebble could start a landslide. And as we keep going forward in time, if the needs of the many aren't being met, then you might start having more of that happen. And then other people, rational people like you and me, we might start getting to that point where, man, yeah, in the next 5 years, I don't know if we're going to be able to afford that. And then we start talking amongst ourselves like, well, I mean, I don't approve of it, but I can understand why someone like that did it.
Well, the other thing is, rational people are only rational as long as you allow them to be.
Yeah.
And the thing is, going back to the hierarchy of needs, if your needs aren't met, you stop being rational. That is not a matter of like, oh my God, he's making a threat. That's not that. That is a statement of fact.
Yeah.
If people's needs are not being met, at the very least, they start doing things in order to survive.
Right.
And I
so,
don't want that by any means.
So what I'm saying is like, I see the crystal ball. I'm looking into the future and I'm just like, man, if this shit keeps happening, then what are people bound to do? And then you start looking at history and what has happened when people are backed into a corner. And it's not pretty. And I'm saying I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
If you're in a position of power and if you're rich, if I were you, I would be like, holy fucking shit. Give them their bread in circuses for fucking crying out loud.
Yeah, it's like you should be able to see that something is building.
Yeah.
Something that you're at fault for is building.
Yeah.
And if you do not take care of it, and by take care of it, I don't mean, okay, we need to give them more propaganda. We need to make sure that they're fighting each other. Because at some point, fighting each other, that stops being an effective strategy. And they're going to notice in lockstep, wait a minute, that's the fucker right there. That's the cause of the problem.
Yeah.
And if you do not be proactive to some extent, and again, this does not mean you don't have to be rich. You can still be fucking rich.
Yeah.
You just can't be this obscenely fucking everything over rich. Mm-hmm. But you can still be obscenely rich, more money than you can reasonably spend your entire life.
If you're helping people and you're wealthy, and you're trying to, solve problems, then I don't really necessarily have a problem with you.
Yeah, no, I mean,
if you're paying your fair share, well, I mean, part of that's kind of the government's problem too.
Yeah.
Not taxing the people that have the money. But if you're a wealthy person that lives in our society that we live in now, and you're paying your taxes and you're trying to help out other people, and you're right there on the front line that I'm on, then kudos to you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm not going to be the one coming after you.
Yeah.
And nobody should either.
And it's, in that regard, I will be one of those people that go, okay, look, if people come after you, I will help defend you.
Yeah.
Because you're rich, that's fine, whatever, but you're rich and you're not a leech or a parasite to society.
Right.
You are rich and you are choosing, it's like, no, they made my money. I can pay my employee. There are CEOs in this country who do that.
Right.
All right. We're going in circles now. So now that we're done going in circles, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to our podcast. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please be sure to email them to maltliquorsocialists at Gmail.
It's at Gmail.
At Gmail.
We have our Facebook page. We have YouTube where you can find our episodes. Mm-hmm. We are also on Patreon. If you want to kick us a couple bucks, then that would be cool. But we'll have a new bonus. Well, actually, by the time that this airs, we should have one of our first bonus episodes on Patreon.
Yeah, one of the few. Once a month, we're going to try to do some paid content.
Yeah.
Look, if you're just here for the local news, it's not going to be anything like, oh my gosh, what am I missing out on? And we're not saying you have to buy into the Patreon. We're not even saying you have to buy into the upper tiers.
Right. All like this podcast, what you're listening to right now, is going to be still free. We'll still put out. We'll probably still put out bonus episodes on here that will be free, but we will have some Patreon exclusive content here and there. So if you want to, kick us $1 or $2, then you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. So cool. Uh-huh.
Come on, baby. Eat the rich. Put the bite on the son of a bitch.
I know who you are. I know who a lot of these people are. They don't even know me. I'd be embarrassed if I were you. The misinformation machine is rapid. It puzzles me.